and let us all do we can to build a better future.
You know, we hear a lot of people like Fat Tony or Anna Banana or Scam Cedar, in which they're saying, oh, you people from Force the Vote need to get over it. You need to get over it. You're beating a dead horse. Quit talking about it. It was never going to work. Force the Vote was a dumb idea. McCarthy would become Speaker of the House. Well, now McCarthy is Speaker of the House, and we saw Force the Vote work not once, but 14 times last week. I mean, the evidence is there. We all saw it. You all saw firsthand how things would look like if actually the squad had any semblance of a soul, a backbone, a heart in the fight. But now, one of Jimmy Dore's and Force the Vote's greatest critics, Ryan Grimm, asked Robot Ro Khanna if the Progressive Caucus is considering demands of the next time a Force the Vote opportunity for Speaker comes up. So I'm going to repeat that again. This was seen on Counterpoints. Counterpoints, a very reliable show, right? Ryan Grimm asking Ro Khanna if the Progressive Caucus is considering demands the next time a Force the Vote opportunity for Speaker comes up. Now, I've seen this video, and this is a video from Case Study QB. Please be sure to support Case Study QB. He is still being censored on Twitter. He has a YouTube channel and Odyssey page as well, so I would really appreciate it if you guys show him some support. We're always here for independent media, and again, for some reason, Case Study QB, his Twitter account still remains censored. So I want to pull this video up. Now, I'm preparing all of you for the word salad that Ro Khanna is going to spew out of his mouth, right? And it's complete BS. And here, you could read it for yourself. Counterpoints. Ryan Grimm asks Ro Khanna if the Progressive Caucus is considering demands the next time a Force the Vote opportunity for Speaker comes up. So let's have democracy in the chat. Before I play the video, type 1 if you think Ro Khanna is going to give a clear, succinct answer like, yes, we see it work. We're going to do a Force the Vote. The Progressive Caucus, now is our time to strike back, stand up, and be strong. If we take the House, we're going to do things the right way, and we won't let you down. Type 2 if you know he's going to spew out a word salad. So there you go. Now, I probably already did spoil it, but hey, you know what? Maybe I'm over-exaggerating. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll let you decide.
If Democrats take the House back in 2 years, which seems plausible, it'll probably be by a narrow margin. Is there any thinking going on in the Progressive Caucus now to say, what are we going to demand when that comes around?
That already happened, you jackasses.
House back in 2 years, which seems plausible. It'll probably be by a narrow margin. Is there any thinking going on in the Progressive Caucus now to say, what are we going to demand when that comes around?
Hakeem Jeffries was warned by Kevin McCarthy, right? He said, I had a unanimous vote 2 years ago. Look, I think there are arguments for it, for example, Medicare for all, to get hearings on that, to get a vote on that. But here's the difference.
Okay, hold on. We're going to play that again. But I need you guys to understand that there was an attempt for Force the Vote. And hey, Ro Khanna, you were on that Force the Vote petition. Did you forget about it? Are you trying to forget the fact that Jimmy Dore, Brianna Joy Gray, Justin Jackson, Dr. Cornel West, and so many other heroic individuals called you and the other colleagues on the Force the Vote petition to actually do the right thing? You know, to actually step up, to fight back. No, probably not. I think maybe you've actually forgotten. Maybe you're assuming that people wouldn't look into it. But there's a thing called the internet, the Wayback Machine. So hold on, we're just gonna play it again one more time.
Jeffries was warned by Kevin McCarthy, right? He said, I had a unanimous vote 2 years ago. Look, I think there are arguments for it, for example, Medicare for all, to get hearings on that.
Medicare for all, huh? Medicare for all, Medicare for all.
To get a vote on that. But here's the difference, and I believe the fundamental difference with the Freedom Caucus and the Progressive Caucus. The Freedom Caucus, by their own definition, just wants to blow things up and cut things. I mean, that's why they're in Congress. And I disagree with it. I'm not questioning their motives. They're in Congress because they want to reduce spending, cut government. That's an easier thing to be a no on than saying, okay, we want Medicare for all, which is one of, we have to have legislation drafted, and just say it's a harder thing to do when you have an affirmative agenda. So the progressives are never going to be blow up government or let's just hurt government.
So you heard it here. All that talk about AOC raising the ruckus. Come on, make your leaders uncomfortable. The progressive movement in the Democratic Party ain't going to do jack. So that means if you decide to jump on board the Our Revolution bandwagon, the brand new Congress bandwagon, if you jumped on board with the Justice Democrats, with Fat Tony, Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kalinske, well, then you wasted your time, your money, your resources, your mental health, because they're not going to go there to blow up anything. They're not going to go there to raise the ruckus. They're not going to fight for Medicare for all. They're going to do things pragmatically. They're going to do things in a slow, step-by-step pace, because we got to be careful. We can't just make things uncomfortable. We can't shine a light that the politicians have gold-plated health care and a six-figure salary and other wonderful social benefits. So anyone who thinks that Medicare for all is going to be done at the federal level, you're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
When you have an affirmative agenda. So the progressives are never going to be blow up government or let's just hurt government. But are there lessons in terms of saying we want more progressives on certain committees? We want certain bills to come up for a vote? Sure. I think that those are things that progressives should consider.
Yeah, should consider. And we asked you, Mr. Ro Khanna, to fight back. You know, before I play this next video, the progressives in the Democratic Party were never who they said they were. Now, look, I'm going to raise my hand here and say, look, I had hope for them in 2018 when AOC and the squad first became a name into our political spectrum. When they first rose up, I really thought that maybe this would be a turning point, that maybe things would happen, that maybe in the aftermath of the disaster of the 2016 Democratic primary and, of course, the 2016 general election, that maybe there was going to be a shift, a turn. And I actually even held out hope even further in 2020. I was wrong. I want to pull up this video here from Bloomberg. And again, shout out to Case Study QB. I don't know how he sits through corporate media, but he is clearly he is built out of stronger material than I am, because even corporate media, it's madness to sit through it. And here they're asking what the far left learned from the far right over the speaker vote fiasco. Now, we saw the conversation that Ryan Grimjob was giving to Robot Ro Khanna, and Ro Khanna just gave you a word salad. So let's see. Let's hear their analysis.
Greg, what did the progressives, the far left wing of the Democratic Party, what did they learn from the McCarthy speaker fiasco? What lessons were taken from the strength and negotiating power of the far right over by the far left?
Two things, Tom, quickly. Number one, some people in the Democrats Party, feel that this gives them an opportunity to continue branding these extremists as the enemy. That might help them. But I think the bigger takeaway is that this is going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a nasty year. There's going to be hearings. I think there's a chance Trump could get indicted later in Georgia, later in the month.
They got to bring up Trump always. And whenever I hear that, Trump indictment and everything else, look, I get that Trump triggered a lot of people. I get that he made people feel uncomfortable. And yes, Trump is a horrible person who should never have been president. I don't agree with any of his policies, but I understand why he was popular, why he won in 2016, why he was putting up a fight in 2020, and why he's going to be running again in 2024. All right. And the thing is, the squad has tunnel vision on focusing on Orange Boogeyman and not worrying about healthcare, student debt forgiveness, cannabis legalization, investing into our infrastructure, breaking down the military-industrial complex, holding Wall Street accountable, getting money out of politics. The squad is never going to do that. You heard it from Ro Khanna's own admission when he was speaking to Ryan Grimm. They are not going to do something that we saw like what the Freedom Caucus was doing. They're not going to go there to put up a fight for you. They want to be following the rules and the procedures. I'll tell you one thing. I do not envy Kevin McCarthy. I hope good old Boohoo Bomer one day walks up to Kevin McCarthy, passes him a joint, says, hey, listen, I was in your shoes. Smoke this. You're not going to know a single moment of peace. I really do hope that for old Kevin, because he's going to get some brain aneurysm and ulcers dealing with the Freedom Caucus. Or at least that's what I hope. I don't want these politicians to be comfortable. But just to put a kick to your head so you guys remember, in 2020, 2021, Ro Khanna, we were asking for help with Forced to Vote. You just can't pretend that you didn't hear that knock on the door, because people were asking AOC and you, Ro Khanna, and your other colleagues who are on the Forced to Vote petition to do the right thing, and you didn't. Shout out to Matt Orfala who made this video. Let's play it.
We can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all.
That's garbage. You can do it right now. We need 15 Democrats.
Hi, Jimmy.
We need the elected officials that you helped get elected to tell Nancy Pelosi that you will not vote for her as Speaker unless Medicare for All is put on the House floor for a vote.
I think it's a really smart idea.
You know, the worst abuse of power, Crystal, is not using the power you have to fight for people.
Will they? Time to let AOC know they have no other option, because we're watching and we see through their bullshit excuses.
We have to put public pressure on them.
I want to see who's going to vote against healthcare in the middle of a pandemic. If you're not going to do it now, you are never going to do it, you phony.
All the people who filled up your voicemail, they're going to remember whether you did the right thing here.
Which side are they really on? This is where you force progressive House members to reveal who they answer to. Do they answer to their constituents, or do they answer to the party bosses? Listen.
Spoiler alert, they answer to the party bosses. So when push comes to shove, Ro Khanna will not force the vote, even though it is a very real tactic, and we saw it in play last week. The Freedom Caucus proved that it can work. Proved that you can make these politicians' lives uncomfortable, because let's face it, I don't want these politicians to be comfortable. I want them to be miserable, because they get to have gold-plated health care and we don't. Force the vote works. But the squad, the Democratic Party, anyone in the Congressional Progressive Caucus, they will never challenge Hakeem Jeffries. So let's say, hypothetically, the Democrats retake the House and they got a supermajority there, or is it at maybe a solid higher majority? All right, let's give them the benefit. Let's say they get it. They're not going to do what we saw with the Republican Party, where it's Kevin McCarthy. They're not going to do it. Anyone fighting for Medicare for all or thinking that it's going to be happening in Congress, they're not going to do it. They're just going to say, oh, we don't have enough votes. Oh, we got plenty of conservative blue dog Democrats. Now's not the time. We have to be pragmatic. It's not a number one issue, even though medical bankruptcy is a very real thing in this country. So many Americans suffer from it. But AOC and the squad, I mean, I'll give them this. They put on a very good show. They put on a very good show, and they lied to us. So whenever they come asking you for help, you just close the door right in their face. You don't owe them a goddamn thing.
In the AOC's own words.
The Democratic Party does not do more unless it is pushed.
And so this moment is the great unmasking.
Force it to happen.
Ask them, are you fighters or are you careerists? Are you activists for the people, or are you posers on Twitter.
Everyone's going to
Posers.
try to tell you that if you're just a little bit nicer, then it'll be fine. No.
The whole point of protesting is to make people uncomfortable. You got to make them uncomfortable. She's pretending to be part of a movement when she's really running cover for Nancy Pelosi. Did you think anybody voted for you so you could vote Nancy Pelosi without getting them anything? This is Medicare for all. People's actual lives depend on us doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's your chance to actually use your leverage. Will you?
Take risks.
Or will you be a party fucking climber?
Start bringing the ruckus on the Democratic Party. Force it to happen. Do not trust any political party to automatically work in your interest.
I call on everybody in independent media to join this mission.
Force it to happen.
Force the Congress to show which side are they really on.
Hey, I know that guy. Completely uncharismatic and a robot.
No vote for Nancy Pelosi unless Medicare for all is put on the House floor for a vote.
So we need to push them.
To which they're not going to do. But hey, I'm going to give Ryan Grimm this. At least he's asking, like, hey, will you guys force the vote? Are you going to do that? To which Ro Khanna gave a word salad, which I could decipher for all of you. The answer is no, nope, never going to happen. Too bad. Sorry, not a chance. See you next week. Hasta la vista. That's the truth of it. Don't waste your time reforming the Democratic Party or voting Democrat. You don't have a seat at the table. They're not going to fight for you. So why stick your neck out for them?